And that's all there is to folding them out. Welcome back to Peaks Peak. My name's Lucas and we're sharing our hobbies on and off of 38 acres in eastern Kentucky. And today I want to talk about the TideWe 270 blind, because we've had this for a couple of years now. We've been using it hard, and I want to tell you how it's held up and how we like it. So we bought the TideWe 270 ground blind a little over 2 years ago. And we put out a video on our homestead channel when we first got the blind, just sharing the whole setup and the price point. And we labeled this blind as the best blind for the money. I thought I would revisit that idea and tell you guys if I still believe that is true. Now, at this point in the game, these see-through ground blinds are kind of all over the place, and they're pretty common. But when we first got it, I was just amazed with the visibility and the way that you can sit in here and see all three sides wide open. And you've got a blacked out wall. That way, no light shines through and gives your silhouette away. So if you set it up in the direction, blocking the direction where the deer are gonna be looking at you, then you can kind of protect your silhouette. And that works out great. We really like that feature. The overall construction of this blind is pretty fantastic. It folds up pretty small. It's easy to carry around and move from place to place. It is not really easy to get unfolded and set up, as I showed my struggles the first time that I set it up. It took me a while to figure out how to get it turned to pop it out. Now, once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. And a lot of people are gonna tell you, oh, it's a piece of cake. But until you figure it out, it's a little bit difficult. Now, I thought I'd bring you in just a little bit closer and show you how these windows operate, because basically you can slide these and close them up completely so that there's no light pulling through here. You just overlap those and then you've got everything blocked off. But if you want to open them up so that you can see out a little bit, you just slide these elastic sliders up and down, and of course, you know, the tension on this bar will kind of hold it in position. So you can raise these up and get yourself a shooting window out of the side. Now, typically what I do is I pick my best line of sight and I point the open window towards that with the black wall behind me, and then I will close all of the others except for maybe a little sliver so that I can kind of peek through and see just a little bit, you know, maybe out the back corner or the front corner. And that works out pretty well for me. And then of course you have your standard black back wall here, but it has a little window here, so you can actually undo this and fold it down if you need to look out and check behind you for some reason. Now, I thought I would show the basic premise of how these things stand up, because they really just pop out. And so the way these walls fold up is they just pop in just like that. And that's all there is to folding them out. So once you get the first one folded out, the rest of them pop right out, and it's really easy. But you have to kind of do it in the right order in order to keep from getting all tangled up. Now, right now, I'm using this ground blind to take my 10-year-old son crossbow hunting. I normally bow hunt myself, and a lot of times I bow hunt off of the ground in a ground blind. Some of the other blinds that I had, it was really tight, and if you didn't set up in exactly the right spot, when you would draw back, your elbow would hit the back wall. And I scared off a deer like that one time, because when I drew back, it broke over and my elbow hit the back wall and they heard the noise and off they went. So you need plenty of space. This blind gives you plenty of space for two people to comfortably set up on chairs and hunt. You can see our setup here. We've got a shooting tripod for him to put his crossbow on, and then we each have a little stool that we can sit on. It makes plenty of space. Now, I mentioned in the title how we left this blind set up for 2 whole seasons, and we wanted to share how it held up. And when I say 2 seasons, I mean 2 like hardcore long seasons, because I'm not real good about getting back out in the spring and picking it up, folding it up, and putting it away. So it's kind of whenever I get around to it, which means we put this out at the beginning of September because bow season opens September 1st in Kentucky. I usually don't hunt the first few weeks because it's still in the 90s and I don't like to hunt when it's that hot. But we put it out in September and usually don't go around collecting until February or March when the weather breaks. So this blind spent the better part of 14 months sitting out in the weather. The camouflage on the roof has faded some, so it's a little bit different color, a little discolored, but the sides honestly have held their color, their camouflage really well. Overall, this blind would be probably almost completely unfazed sitting out all of that time, except for we had one major storm. And I went out to check on things and I found that a great big branch had fallen on the roof of this, and so it was completely collapsed. It had blown off of its spot, so it pulled the stakes up and had rolled away. And in all of that, this window got torn a little bit and it broke one of these rods. Now this one is cracked right here, but it's still holding up, and it broke one on the back side. So I actually set this up next to a fence and tied the backside to the fence so that it would stand up, still be sturdy, and stay in place. And we're gonna get at least this one more season out of it just fine. Now, that damage is not TideWe's fault. Obviously, you can't build them to withstand tree branches falling on them. And that's what happened to this one. Here's my take. The TideWe 270 ground blind can be bought directly from them or off of Amazon or lots of other places for just over $100. And I think that is a killer deal for as good as this ground blind is. I don't see any reason to spend any more money on a different style. I actually sat in this blind last night while we were hunting and I ordered another one. It's an updated model and it's a 360 view, and we're going to place it in a different spot for our hunts. I've been very satisfied with the TideWe blind. So much so that I was willing to go buy another one. So I just kind of wanted to share that update with you guys, how this thing held up over a couple of years. A lot of times when people put out reviews, they just put out a review when they got it out of the box and tell you what it looks like. And that has its place, but it's not quite as useful as seeing one that's been left out in the weather for 2 years. So here's what it looks like, and it's still doing its job. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Listen, if you are not a subscriber to our channel, we just started this new channel for all of our outdoors content, hunting, fishing, camping, all of those things with my 10-year-old son. And we're having a great time. We would love it if you would join us and subscribe. And until next time, get outside and enjoy God's creation because it is beautiful out here. Y'all have a good day.